Seeing evidence.
Sorry, Your Honor. The letter is from her also.
Yeah.
Then present the letter.
All right, I'm showing you a letter dated 3 September 2008. Do you recognize this letter?
Yes, I do recognize this.
Can you tell us what this letter is?
May I? On September 3, 2008, it refers to the deemed acceptance of your unit 31B Tower 3, the columns Ayala Avenue, and its tax declaration. As you had been advised by our technical representative, Denise Aniceto, the rectifications to your unit have already been completed. The keys of the unit may be claimed from Mr. Aniceto.
So that was dated 2008?
Yes.
And where were the keys?
The keys at that time was with the office, with Mr. Aniceto.
And up to this point, what kind of acceptance had been made on the unit, if any?
It's a deemed acceptance.
Is a deemed acceptance. Was there any acceptance on the part of Mrs. Corona?
Already answered.
Thank you, Your Honor. May we request that the document be marked as Defense Exhibit 214, that the date be marked as 214A? Yeah. Now, Madam Witness, it seems that this letter of yours, now marked as Exhibit 214, has certain attachments. Do you recognize these attachments?
Yes, I do recognize the attachments.
Can you tell us what these attachments are?
It is the information given to Mrs. Corona
Will
from...
you kindly fix your microphone?
Okay.
Louder.
Yes. This letter signifies that it was informing Mrs. Corona of the tax declaration under her name for the subject property, which is 31B Tower 1, the columns Ayala Avenue. And then it is from the Division Manager of Sales Support for Ayala Land Group, Pichi Pasana. And attachments were the tax declarations under the name of Mrs. Corona, Christina R. Corona, married to Renato C. Corona.
What is this attachment, the third attachment?
There's a real property tax receipt attached to it also.
And can you tell us more about the real property tax receipt? Who paid for the taxes in 2008?
It says in the document that the declared owner and the payee is Community Innovations Inc., Makati City.
And that is whose company?
That is the developer.
That is the company you work for?
Yes.
Your Honor, may we request that the attachments be marked as 214B, C, D, and the name Community Innovations as 214E, and the statement and the last two documents as 214F, G, and H.
Mark them accordingly.
Your Honor, the defense counsel a while ago confirmed with me, Your Honor, that these are mere photocopies, and they will present the original.
That is right, Your Honor. We will do our best to find the originals and present
So
them.
may we just request that the marking be provisional, Your Honor?
Why don't you establish the lady basis for a secondary evidence so that we will not be tarried by all of these requests for originals?
Yes, Your Honor. Now, Madam Witness, I refer you to Exhibit 214C. Would you know who caused the preparation of this declaration of real property?
There would be a division for that from the developer.
So this was caused to be prepared by?
Cost to be prepared by a division from our from the developer. Yes.
From your, all right. And it says clearly that the owner here would be?
Christina R. Corona.
All right. Now, in the next document attached to your letter, who caused the payment of the real estate tax?
As a basic procedure, upon turnover, normally the developer advances the payments. So it's a division in the developer side advances the payment for the owners.
And the payment was made in whose name?
Under this tax receipt, it was under Community Innovations, Inc.
Now, Ms. Cruz, do you recall after this letter to Mrs. Corona if she accepted the unit after September 2008?
The letter was a deemed acceptance, and after that, we had no communications with Mrs. Corona.
All right.
Just a minute. What are those copies?
Yes, Your Honor.
Exact copies of originals?
From what I recall, sir, they are exact copies. But I have to check also the
They
files
are
that we
exact copies of some originals.
We just have copies on file of the letters, Your Honor.
Where the originals, who has possession of the originals of those documents?
We usually release the originals to the owners or to the addressee. That means
To
Mrs. Corona.
To Mrs. Corona.
Yes.
So they're in the possession of Mrs. Corona.
Yes.
So these are faithful copies of those originals in the hands of Mrs. Corona.
Yes, Your Honor. I
So
would
these are
presume.
secondary documents on all fours identical with the documents with Mrs. Corona.
From what I recall, but I can check what we also have on record.
All right. These are
Yes.
secondary evidence. That's
Yes, Your Honor.
That's
Thank
the
you.
way how to lay down the premise
Yes, Your
in the
Honor.
introduction of secondary evidence.
Thank you very much, Your Honor. So, going back, thank you. Did you receive an acceptance from Mrs. Corona?
Objection, Your Honor. Already answered,
All right.
Your Honor.
When you said deemed acceptance, who made the deemed acceptance?
Or your objection, Your Honor. She
All
right.
is arguing with the witness, Your Honor.
Already answered.
Yes, Your Honor.
Don't be repetitive.
Madam Witness, did you communicate the acceptance to the condominium corporation?
I don't recall of me personally communicating.
Are you familiar with this procedure?
Normally, it is through a list provided to them.
And who provides that list, would you know?
On a basic procedure or company policy, it's really the developer also to notify the condominium corporation.
You mentioned earlier that you were responsible for the inspection and acceptance.
Yes.
Right. So when you receive the acceptance, how is it transmitted to the condominium corporation for the collection of dues?
There is a monitoring that is provided to
Would
them.
you be familiar with the information transmitted to the condominium corporation?
At that time, I don't recall at that period.
Would you be in a position to obtain the records?
Yes, I would
You
have.
would.
Is there any issue with respect to that particular point?
Your Honor, it was testified by the other witness that the acceptance was given on a specific date. But this witness does not have the documents, the source documents, which were transmitted to the condominium corporation regarding the date of acceptance by the purchaser. That is the only link left, Your Honor. There are also communications between...
I do not know the purpose of these questions or the evidence being elicited by the counsel, but you go ahead and ask your question.
Your Honor, okay. Now, your letter of June 4 makes reference to a re-inspection. Is that correct?
I have to. Can I see the letter again? Is it the one? Yes. Mm-hmm.
Then I take it to mean there was a previous inspection.
Yes.
Do you have any documentation of the previous inspection?
That we have to check on our records if we have.
Can you bring any records regarding the previous inspection?
I will try to find those records.
If there is a re-inspection, what does that mean?
If there's an inspection, it means that there was a punch list or something that needs to be done previous to these letters, and then they are notified of its completion.
Yeah, what is a punch list?
A punch list is essentially what is seen on the unit that needs rectification.
I'm sorry, what do you mean?
What is seen when doing the inspection?
Yes.
When the
What do you
unit
mean,
owner,
what is seen?
when the unit owner is escorted into the unit for an inspection, if there's anything that needs to be rectified according to the unit owner's wish, then that, or taste, sometimes depending on defect.
Defect?
Also, probable defect. Yeah.
So you mean a defect?
A defect or even just a dirt, something like that.
Right. So you mean if there is something wrong,
yes,
like a defect, it goes where?
into a punch list.
Into a punch
Yeah.
list. So you're telling me that there was a punch list which called for
Yes, most probably. Yeah.
for what? A
Reinspection.
reinspection. Do you have that punch list?
We have to check if it's still with us.
Can you bring the punch list if so required?
Yes, we can try to look for it at this time.
Your Honor, may we request that the witness be instructed to bring the other documents relevant to the communication
You
with the
state
client?
the documents that you want to be brought here.
Your Honor, principally all the correspondence preceding your letter of 4 June 2008, which will establish your invitation to inspect, establish the defects found, and other instances which relate to the acceptance and turnover of the unit. Are those documents within your reach?
Yes, but I have to check on where we can.
Can you also bring the documents that relate to the information relayed to the condominium corporation?
Yes, I'll try to find out
Anyway,
where it is.
Madam Witness, when did Mrs. Corona finally accept this condo unit?
From my recollection,
know, if
yes,
you know.
Your Honor, what I only recall is the last letter of September 3, 2008, and then that it was deemed accepted in June 7, 2008.
June 7, 2008.
Yes.
She accepted it already.
It was deemed accepted, Your Honor.
No, but actual acceptance.
No, there was no actual acceptance. It was only a declaration of the deemed acceptance.
Until today, she never expressed acceptance of the unit.
That I have to check on our records.
All right.
Yes.
Your Honor, until I have the other documents, I cannot proceed. May I request that the witness be instructed to return with the documents we request?
Proceed. You may. The witness is instructed to return tomorrow afternoon at 2 o'clock during the resumption of this trial and bring all the documents requested by the counsel for the defense who put you on the witness stand. So ordered.